But the next big ticket item on building wealth and what middle class, or not middle class, excuse me, Gen Z is focused on is, eventually they want to buy a car, they want to buy a house and things like that. So
Yeah.
before that happens, it's like, okay, how do I get my credit going?
Yeah.
Right now, you don't want to get into debt, but unfortunately, the world we live in, if you want to make those big purchases, and I'm here to tell you, and we're going to talk about this in just a minute, you can't afford a house. I'm just going to throw that out there. You can't afford a house. We'll talk about that. But looking at, okay, I want to get my credit score established because eventually, mid 20s, late 20s, you want to buy a house. I think I bought my first house when I was 26, 27, somewhere in there. And so, if you're a young Gen Z, that's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah.
So you'll want to save some money and things like that and getting into that habit. So I want to save a down payment or whatever, but you need that credit score. And a great way to do that is to get credit established, understand what it takes to get a good credit score. And there's several factors. It's not just having a credit card, right?
Right.
It takes into consideration how old that line of credit is, or that credit, that credit account is. It also takes in, what's the available balance versus used balance, credit usage, obviously on-time payments. That's a big piece of it, if it's not the only piece. And so, looking at finding the right credit card, you want to pay attention to what the APR is. Don't carry debt. What I mean by that is have it small debt, pay it off, carry the balance from 1 month to maybe month two. So that way you're showing a balance from month to month, and that you can be trusted with credit. That's going to help you do it. And there's two great apps. I use CreditWise. I think I've got some friends that use Credit Karma, and they'll actually run through the scenarios and stuff like that on how you can increase your score and things like that. But you were talking before we jumped on the show about a great strategy that you recommended. And what was that again?
A secured credit card. So one of my kiddos who's really focused on credit, he tracks using CreditWise. He tracks his credit score, and he has a bank account that's linked. His savings account is linked to a secured credit card. So he uses that. He puts his whole paycheck on that credit card secured and uses that. So he actually has over 700 credit score, which is, he's only 22. So that's pretty impressive.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So yeah, I think that's a great way to go.